The story begins in the hull of a ship, where two repairmen work diligently. Suddenly, a strange vibration shakes the vessel, and an enormous rat-like creature appears before them. A female employee, terrified, flees, but slips on something, and falls through a hole in the floor. The creature leans over the edge, its eyes fixed on her. Meanwhile, on shore, a frustrated young woman named Selena, seeking an escape from her insincere friends, enters a cruise company's office. She bumps into an employee named Pete, who is instantly captivated by her nervous charm. He offers her a hiding spot on the newly boarded cruise ship. Just as 5 women dressed as princesses, her friends arrive, looking for her. Pete cleverly misdirects them, giving Selena a chance to hide. The ship departs, setting the stage. For a series of shocking events, a young boy wanders into the ship's lounge, seeking relief from his fatigue by sniffing a powder-like substance. He hears a peculiar whistling sound, but sees no one. On the floor, a mysterious mask catches his eye. As he bends to pick it up, the whistle sounds again. Annoyed, he turns to see the same mask in another room. Terrified, he tries to run, but is struck by a sharp object. The boy crawls on the ground, groaning in pain. The rat-like creature, now named Zim, appears, picks up a burning torch, and drives it into the back of the boy's head. Later, Selena needs to use the restroom, but the women's is under repair. She reluctantly enters the men's restroom. She hears a strange chewing sound coming from one of the stalls. A nurse-like woman with a tied ponytail suddenly emerges, surprising Selena. Both women quickly use the restroom and leave, unaware that Zim was hiding in the stall all along. On the upper deck, spotlights begin to rotate erratically. A police officer investigates the technical issue, only to spot a mysterious shadow. As he moves closer, a heavy hammer crashes down on his foot, then his other leg. Unable to stand, he crawls toward his pistol, but another hammer blow lands on his hand. On the back of the cruise, Selena is enjoying the breeze when she hears a distant cry. She follows the sound and finds the officer's body, brutally crushed and almost unrecognizable. Zim turns and stares at her. Something inside Selena stirs, but fear takes over, and she runs to tell the crew. When they arrive, there is no trace of the body or the creature, leading them to believe Selena is simply drunk. The captain notices the fog thickening and tries to contact the main tower, but the signal is lost. He hears footsteps, but sees no one. His eyes fall on an old picture on the ship's map, showing a faint image of a rat-like creature next to himself and the former captain. As he leans in, Zim's face appears in a nearby mirror. The control room is splattered with blood as the captain's head is severed and sent flying. Zim props the captain's body in the chair and begins to pilot the ship, humming a tune in celebration. The ship drifts off course. Selena tries to convince the nurse of what she saw, but the nurse remains skeptical. However, another employee, Eve, says, "I've seen stranger things in New York. I believe you." Meanwhile, the assistant captain returns to the control room and panics when he sees the blood and the captain's severed head. The signal is completely gone, and the navigation system has malfunctioned. Surrounded by dense fog, the cruise is lost. The assistant captain orders everyone to gather on the lower deck and goes in search of the killer. On deck, 2 glamorous women are recording a social media video. Their loud laughter catches Zim's attention. He climbs onto a loader, starts the engine, and drives toward them. The girls are excited by the new lighting, unaware that death is approaching. A nurse sees what is happening, and Zim uses the distraction to escape. Below deck, the nurse runs to Selena, finally believing her story. They realize they must warn the other passengers, but a heavy door blocks their path. At the same time, an unaware staff member accidentally reveals the captain's death, causing mass panic. A guard, trying to calm the crowd, confidently says, "As long as we're together, we will catch this killer." But an iron rod is shoved through his neck, splattering blood everywhere. The crowd catches a glimpse of the killer's dancing grotesquely. Unfazed, he picks up a fire pipe and sprays high-pressure water at the crowd, knocking them down. He then breaks the electrical panel, sending a deadly current through the water, electrocuting everyone. 3 survivors manage to escape the deadly shock and run to find a safe place. They meet 2 more survivors and head to the control room. They find the captain dead and the radio useless. Suddenly, an old man grabs one of the survivors' legs, startling them. They soon realize he had been hiding there all along. Girl, walking alone on deck, looks at a picture on her phone and notices a strange shadow in the background. Zim. She realizes something is wrong and tries to warn others. A piece of flesh catches her foot, and as she picks it up, a severed head rolls out. She screams, a sound like a dolphin's cry. Zim approaches, singing a birthday song as he advances with a fishing spear. She runs into a rest area and curses him from behind the glass. But the spear tears through the window and pins her to the wall. Back in the control room, the survivors try to find a way out. The nurse suggests using an emergency signal flare. An old man points to a photo explaining the ship's dark history. A captain named Walter discovered a rat-like creature held captive by scientists. Walter freed the creature and they became friends, but both vanished during a storm in 1960. The creature, now more dangerous than ever, has returned. The survivors split up. Pete leads a group to the engine room, where they find the supposedly missing engineer, Dominic, alive. Dominic says they need to restart the engine, but as everyone moves, she picks up a steel rod and attacks a man. Revealing herself as an ally of ZM. Selena and the nurse head to the storage room to find a flare. The nurse steps on a rusty nail and screams. Selena signals her to be quiet. The nurse endures the pain and pulls the nail out, but it's too late. Zim has heard them. He stands behind Selena holding a flower made of human ears and tries to kiss her. Selena screams, and the nurse quickly plunges a screwdriver into Zim's eye. The wounded creature flees. They find the flare box, but it is empty. Zim returns to the engine room, where Dominic salutes him and asks for forgiveness. But Zim, enraged by his injury, attacks her. Meanwhile, a man named Albert hands a flare to Pete, telling him to run. With the others, Albert fires the flare at Zim, causing a massive explosion in the engine room. Water begins to flood the ship. Selena and the nurse rescue a small child, but the water rises to their waist. Pete is in bad shape. Zim, still alive, attacks Pete and drags him underwater. Helpless, Selena watches. The nurse pulls Selena to safety and goes to gather supplies. In a hallway, she again encounters the injured Zim. With a lid and runs back to Selena, Selena begins to suspect Zim isn't just killing randomly. The child shows them an old photo of two rat-like creatures, a male and a female. Selena realizes Zim is searching for his long-lost partner. She devises a plan. She will distract Zim while the nurse and child go to the roof to signal for help. The nurse and child reach the roof and wave to a passing boat. Zim sees them and charges to attack. The nurse grabs an iron rod and they try to defend themselves, but Zim is too strong. He wounds the nurse's shoulder. Just then, Selena arrives, disguised to look like the female rat-like creature. Zim is mesmerized, but Selena attacks. Her strike misses, only slightly injuring him. She retreats to the nurse, only to see that Zim has now grabbed the child and thrown him into the water. Selena rushes to save him, but slips and falls in herself. Zim, about to attack, suddenly stops. He stares at Selena, and the image of his long-lost partner, who fell into the sea years ago, flashes in his mind. He pulls Selena out of the water, a new companion in his mind, and lets out a howl of strange emotions. They hear the nurse screaming. Zim's attention shifts, and in the ensuing struggle, he falls into the sea. The boy survives by clinging to a drum. A rescue boat approaches. Everyone breathes a sigh of relief, thinking the nightmare is over. But ashore, among the trash, the weak Zim is still alive. Beside him stands a female rat-like creature, his long-lost partner. Meanwhile, in a control tower on land, the operator hears a voice through the wireless. The assistant captain, still trapped under the ship, desperately calling for help.